Hello and welcome to a special New York Comic-Con edition of Inside Marvel Darth Vader. I'm still Mike Rothman, he's still Walt Hickey, but we have two very special guests that are actually live and in person today that I'm very excited about. Matt Martin from the Lucasfilm Story Group.
Hey, how's it going?
Thank you for flying. He flew out just for this, didn't you?
Mostly, yeah.
Awesome. Kieron Gillen, author, extraordinaire, blazer wearer, amazing t-shirt man.
Terminally British, I'm here with you today.
Fantastic accent. As always, sadly, we have on the horn Clayton Sandell. We wish he was here in person.
So sad.
So,
sorry, guys. Couldn't do it.
Next time. We miss you, though, Clayton. Just know that. We really wish you were here.
I miss you guys, too. I want to know how many Porg tattoos Matt Martin has gotten just this morning.
No, I still just got the one. Just the one.
So, we're here to talk about issue 6. 5 issues in the books. This is the newest issue. Yeah. Walt, want to catch us up on what's going on?
Absolutely. So it's a Charles Soule's book, and what we're looking at in this arc is essentially what happened to Vader just after he signed up for Team Sith. Things have been going mediocre so far. He got the crap beaten out of him one time by a Jedi. It was great. He got a new lightsaber, though. That's a new addition to the squad. But now what comes up, he's got some competition. It's going to be a little bake-off, all right? The Grand Inquisitors shown up. He's got some friendos. It's going to get weird. They fight a lot and have some fun. That's what I got for you.
That is the best summary that Walt has ever given on this show.
You know, it's just a real good vibe in here. It's just a really good vibe in here.
So, I want to bring it to you guys. We meet a lot of new people here. First and foremost, obviously the Grand Inquisitor and the Inquisitors. Matt, for fans that don't know, fill us in a little bit about these special creatures, as you could call them.
So yeah, the Inquisitors are really a program created by the Emperor to kind of wipe out the rest of the Jedi that managed to survive Order 66. And it was really important for us to kind of tell the origins of that and how they're connected to Vader. So when this book came to be, it was something that we really wanted to make sure made it in.
Clayton, I know you're a big fan of Rebels. I'm going to throw it to you because we've seen the Inquisitors a lot on that show. What's your experience? What do you like about this? What are you excited about?
Yeah, it was great. Fans of Rebels will know the Inquisitors from that show. We've seen them going out to try and find Force-sensitive children and eliminate them as well. They've gone up against Kanan Jarrus and Ezra and even Ahsoka Tano at times. And these guys, they use these amazing spinning lightsabers, double-bladed lightsabers that even act as like almost helicopters that they can fly around. And Matt, of course, could weigh on this a little bit more and would know more than I, but I've read that like Dave Filoni and Pablo Hidalgo have said that these guys, that spinning lightsaber was almost like a cheat because real Sith, real bad guys like Darth Maul could do that by hand and with their own abilities. So the automatically spinning lightsaber is sort of a cheat for these guys, which is sort of indicative of the fact that the Inquisitors are not as highly trained, not full-on Sith, like the true bad guys. So anyway, yeah, we've seen them before, and great characters, and it's cool to see them tied into the comic.
Matt, what's up with these cheaters?
I mean, we call them cheat mode lightsabers. It's not that they're not trained. The majority of the Inquisitors were at one time Jedi, but a Jedi versus Jedi is going to be pretty evenly matched. So I think the idea is that with these special lightsabers, it gives them an edge up when they're fighting another Jedi.
And the Grand Inquisitor actually is an old Jedi guard, right, from the Jedi Temple, which I think is interesting too. It shows kind of more people like Darth who have turned from the light to the dark.
They were just awful with vacation days, and honestly, the health benefits were subpar, and you can't blame him for choosing the dark side at a certain point. It makes a lot of sense.
It's unlimited vacation at the dark side.
Kieron, I know you've done a lot of work on this character, and you're also working on the Star Wars book coming out.
Yes. So that's a yes or no question. Yeah, but that's sort of something, I found myself listening, I'm thinking, the hardest thing I write Darth Vader is finding interesting things for him to kill. And it's like, and also because to have a fight against him, because he's Darth Vader, we've seen what he can do. So you put him in a room with anyone, they tend to end up dead. So make up interesting people who Vader can square off against, but also not equals, but interesting people for him to beat up. That's so much of the challenge of the book.
He needs a lot of foils in order to actually bring out just a really imposing character.
Exactly. I mean, when we saw cheat modes, when I was doing Darth Vader, I invented these sorts of cybernetic fake Jedi who were nothing but cheat modes. As in it was, okay, how can we try to fake force power and we'll do it with cybernetics? Interesting challenge.
And I know you were just talking about this a little bit, but your series from last year, the last Darth Vader run, really focused on Palpatine continuously testing Darth, and that's kind of like the Sith way, which is, it's so odd. Like, if you don't try to kill your master, you're kind of a loser in the Sith Academy, basically. Can you expand on that? Because, this is like the first sign that we've seen in the new series of that being like, he says to him at one point, if the Grand Inquisitor had like taken me down, would you have done anything? He's like, did he take you down? No, exactly. And so it's just like continuously making him better by testing him.
I was thinking of my first ever boss that said, pretty much the job. If you're still in this position in 11 months' time, you're a failure.
Ooh.
And when I was writing Palpatine, I was kind of thinking of guys like him. You know what I mean? I was constantly, oh, you're that guy. Right. And that's fun because it means he's such a great character, right? He's always pressing the buttons. And Vader, especially after 25 years, he knows his score. And by the time I've got to him, Vader has done this dance many times. And the great joy of what Charles is writing is it's kind of the first time Vader's getting to do the dance. To really kind of like, he was seduced to the dark side, and now he kind of has to sort of start, working it really, I guess.
Oh. And I want to bring up, is it too early to bring up the woman at the end? Because we all want to know who this is. Matt, you know.
Yeah, I know.
So tell us the entire story right now.
So it's
tease. So it is Snoke. It's officially Snoke. That's canon. You heard Matt say it. Sorry, Lucasfilm. I apologize. No, but should we? So Clayton, who do you think that is? I know you're very knowledgeable about the history of Star Wars and the characters. Do we have any guesses here?
I don't have any guesses, but you know what I will admit to doing is that in the panel at the end there, this person is sitting there, and we think it's a woman sitting there with some sort of creature on her lap, but there is also a scroll with some Arabesh writing on it, and I admit that yesterday I tried to get my Arabesh cheat sheet out and try and figure out what was written on that scroll. I had absolutely no luck. I don't know if it's just gibberish or whether I'm just not able to zoom in far enough, whatever it is, but I did try to glean some clues from that scroll. Had no luck, so I'm at a loss.
I want to take it back to Matt. I mean, obviously you can't tell us too much, but in general, where do we see the storyline going as far as what you can say? I know you're good at this, so.
Well, I mean, we are going to see really Vader having to deal with the Inquisitors. Like, this isn't really what he signed up for, so now he's basically in charge of a bunch of people that he really doesn't want to be a part of. So we're going to see a lot of that. There's going to be some animosity between the individual Inquisitors as they all kind of find their role and find their place within the Inquisitorius. And obviously there's that character at the end who's going to come and cause some trouble for our heroes, which I guess are not heroes at all.
Nice. Now, Walt lost his lightsaber, so I want to pass this over.
Hello. So, Kieron, I want to just kind of expand out a lot. So compelling about Star Wars, especially the stories on the side over the past couple of years, has been that they've been going in deep, they've been trying out new characters, and I know you've participated in a new book coming out called From a Certain Point of View, is that right?
That is correct.
Can you tell me a little bit about the book and your role in it?
It was incredibly complimentary to be asked. I mean, the idea of the book is, here are 40 short stories which are set around A New Hope. So it's kind of like small characters in A New Hope's perspective on the issues, and it's the whole range. You've got things from the tiny little bleepy bots to the dude on the watchtower on Yavin 4, and I was asked to be in it, and that was incredibly complimentary. I've never actually had my prose published before.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never tried, but it's also I'm very aware that this is my first actual prose out there, and they suggested I do a story about my character Dr. Aphra, who I invented for the first Darth Vader run, what she was kind of doing around then, and she was on Dantooine. If you remember the bit where they kind of set people up to check out the old Rebel base, she's kind of there stealing stuff. So you get a kind of a scene with her and Tag debating the ethics of like genocide. So because Dr. Aphra likes weapons, the idea of as a planet killing weapon is kind of an interesting way to pull over what that really means. As in what is the great tremor in the Force. How does that feel like? So yeah, it was a really interesting thing to be involved in. I'm really looking forward to read the rest as well. There's so many good people on it.
That's terrific, and I think that we're going to see some of that this weekend at New York Comic Con.
Oh. You set me up so well. So obviously, if you look around, we are at New York Comic Con. We're at the Javits Center in Manhattan. So we kind of have to address the spaceship in the room, I guess, and the elephant in the room. Matt might have to put in both his earbuds for this one. We're at the Last Jedi spot, which is a beautiful setup with props, and people are just excited. We're about 2 months out from the movie. So What are we guys excited for? What do we expect? Walt, I want to toss to you.
I'm not excited at all for the film.
Okay.
It's a what? It's about the Jedi and stuff?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'm dying.
The Jedi.
I really, really want a trailer as soon as possible. I'm not breaking out in hives yet, but it's coming, I can tell. And I really want a trailer sometime soon.
So, Matt, you were telling me earlier that Luke is going to kill everybody in this movie.
But like I said, killing everybody at the end of a movie worked out so well for Rogue One that we're just going to keep doing it. So yeah, don't expect to have anybody left at the end of Last Jedi.
Kieron, how is it to work on something that's kind of parallel or different time spaces to something that you have so many different storylines that people are excited for? What's that juggling process like?
Almost impossible. It's like, no, but kind of the fun is I always describe writing Star Wars as like a historical novel. In that kind of what you're doing is there's this enormous time and space and there's different periods, and if you're writing in that period, you're kind of writing in that period. And I can actually, since I've not done anything in the 30 years on sort of timeline, I can kind of watch it as a fan. So I'm kind of sitting there and I'm doing exactly the same speculation games you are as well. So it's fun, as in you get to be a part of the universe over here, and then also get to actually appreciate and consume it and love it at the other end of it. So yeah, it's a really interesting time.
Clayton, you're one of the biggest fans that I know, and you're so well versed in this. What are you looking forward to? I mean, I can't set you up better than that. I mean, it's such a hyped movie.
You know, to me, since we didn't quite get the reunion in The Force Awakens, to me, seeing General Leia and Luke Skywalker finally meet face to face, which I'm assuming, hoping, praying will happen. For me, that's the really big moment for me that I'm waiting for in this movie, and I'm sure the rest of it's going to be great too. But for me, that's the one thing.
And Clayton, you actually interviewed Rian Johnson at Celebration a couple months ago. I know that was a while back, but that was such an interesting conversation. What did he have to say about the movie? Because he's such a good, down-to-earth guy, but a genius at the same time.
I mean, he didn't give us any plot. He was very good on that. But you know, the one thing that you get from this guy is that he is such a fan, and he has taken such great care in making this movie that I'm sure it's gonna turn out great. I mean, and while I have you, I want to tell Kieron, I actually skipped ahead in this book to read your story. I couldn't wait to get to it, and it is really excellent. It's a really cool. If you haven't read the book, it's kind of takes. What it does is it takes 40 different stories, because it's the 40th anniversary of Star Wars, of course, and all of these different authors have taken a minor character or a minor angle from the movie and expanded on it. And so you learn all sorts of new and interesting things that you didn't know. So congratulations, Kieron, on the story. It was really terrific.
Oh, thank you so much. That actually genuinely means the world to me. I'm incredibly paranoid about it now. So I'm just so glad you liked it.
Yeah, again, Star Wars just kind of transcends so many different mediums. You have the comic books, right, recently under Marvel, and all kind of going ahead with that. You have these books, which, I mean, the expanded universe, the universe outside the movies has been such a core component of this fandom for so long. I guess we're a couple of years out from, not the reboot, but from the movement from Legends to this new things. I guess, Matt, I'm kind of wondering, where's your head at now? Are you excited with where it's going, where the Kyber crystals have been kind of covering all that?
Yeah, I mean, it was a little painful to lose the Legends thing. Like, I was a big EU fan, so kind of peeling off the Band-Aid was rough. But I'm so glad that we've gone in this direction, and everything really now feels so cohesive. And we're able to plant seeds in, one story that shows up in another story in a different medium 2 years later, and that's just really cool.
Now, with the response, Dash Rendar is on the list.
I'd love to know, how is it for you to know something so well in advance and then hold that? Because obviously you know so many different storylines, and that's got to be, the word that comes to mind is excruciating. How is that?
It's a challenge, but it's something I'm gradually getting more and more used to. I know it drives my girlfriend crazy, because I'll be like, oh my god, this cool thing is happening. We'll talk about it in 2 years. So, it's tough, but at the same time, it's a big responsibility that, I'm pretty blessed to have on my shoulders.
What about you, Kieron? Because obviously you get scripts in advance. These storylines, how is that? Like, I mean, the secrecy must be killing everybody.
It is. It's just like, it's one of the glad things that I'm such a, I'm writing a period. that kind of limits what I might have to know. So I can actually say the rest I can do like a fan. But the key things is just the stuff that comes back to you in that kind of. Obviously, I'm taking up Star Wars like in November, and there was a conversation. Oh, these elements are available if you want to play with them. They'd be interesting to foreshadow, and that's like so I know that stuff. So it's just so fun to be part of that because it's kind of like whenever you're doing your own book. Like I do my book Wicked Divine. And that's like this big 5-year plan, and I knew the end of it 5 years ago. But I can't imagine being like Matt, and that's basically doing dozens of Wicked Divines, so he knows the end of dozens of projects. That must be, incredibly stressful. Actually, there's a question I wanted to ask. How much has it changed in the last 2 years? The fact there's more stuff happened, and there's more canon. Is it how much? Is it like you're more used to, or is it more difficult now? Or
we've done a better job at like splitting responsibilities. So while I definitely do take in everything, I have a bit more of a focused position than I used to. So from that point of view, it's a little bit less stress. But at the same time, the stories just keep building and building, and the things that we need to keep track of, there's just more and more of it all the time. In fact, there's something I need to talk to you about after this to connect to.
Why save it for after? I mean, there's a perfectly microphone right here.
I think Clayton had a question, and he always has the best questions.
Well, it's such a rare treat to have someone from the Lucasfilm Story Group on the show with Matt Martin, who I've lovingly referred to as one of the Illuminati of the Star Wars world. But I'm sort of curious, and I'm sure you get this question. What was your own path to getting on to the Lucasfilm Story Group?
Oh, my path was really weird. Here, I'll take this. It'll be a while. So I've been a Star Wars fan for my entire life, and I actually started out as a volunteer for Lucasfilm at conventions like this, which I was just doing out of my passion for Star Wars. Through that, I met some people. I was going to school for graphic design, of all things. Met some people and started doing freelance design. Eventually got hired on to work on the online team. Until eventually I was managing StarWars.com's content and social media, and then when a job opened up on the story group, I put my name in the hat immediately and kind of just begged and pleaded and like, this is everything I want. And
that mind trick?
Yeah, exactly. And for some reason they went with it.
Well, they're lucky to have you, and yeah, I mean, it's so good to have you guys here. I mean, I'm not going to gush too much.
But let's talk a little bit. New York Comic Con is going on right now.
Yes.
What are you guys up to? I know, Kieron, are you doing a panel or so, or are you staying busy?
Yeah, there's I've got a panel for my book Wicked Divine. That's tomorrow at 3 p.m, which is somewhere in the building, and we've got table J8. So it's kind of like we'll be signing books across the weekend. So just basically meeting fans, shaking hands. Actually, high fives is preferable, or fist bumps, because it's less infectious. Basically, the main thing you do at a con is try to avoid exposure to germs, and so we get all home and don't die. That's basically the main hope.
All right, so don't die.
So I think we've held you guys up long enough. You guys have fans to go talk to and things to go do. Walt's got a hat to go wear. You look fantastic.
Why, thank you.
Clayton, again, thank you as always for joining us. We missed you, man. We wish you were here.
I'm going to hold my own ClayCon by myself. You guys are invited next year.
Well, for Kieron, for Matt, for Walt, for Clayton, for David Merrill behind the camera,
we'll
doesn't
be here
have
all
without
day.
him. I'm Mike Rothman. Thank you guys for seeing us, and we're going to be back all weekend long with more Comic-Con stuff, so stay tuned.